Okay, I'm back, and I'm going to try to cross off another thing on my to-do list, which is to make this video on the Kaiju arms. I have both my Kaijus down here and the arms. Yeah, this is actually my first version of these stupid arms, but why I didn't use them was because I thought they were overkill. And since Kaiju is mostly overkill now, why not? So I would have saved myself a good 9 months if I would have just used these in the first place, instead of trying to make some crappier version of a ridiculously beefy arm. So, yeah, in this bag is all the parts that I use for the arm, and I'll go over all the parts as I go. Wait a minute. Except for this thing. This is the centerpiece, and it's made out of this 1/2 inch extruded nylon rod. Yeah, it's bendable, flexible, and this thing is actually the same nylon rod, except that it's 1/4 inch, and this is 1/2. Yeah, I use this stuff a lot. So, I mean, I use this for my roll cage on the 1/5 scales, and it loves its life. The only thing about using this stuff on roll cages, and I know I'm going on a tangent, but to make it quick, you can't use heat to bend it because that will kill the integrity of the nylon and make it easy to crack and whatnot, and that's not good. So you have to bend it with a pipe bender or something, or your hands if you're strong enough. Now, yeah, I'm going and redo this so it'll be able to easily cut it. Yeah, I love these little stupid cheap things you can get off of Amazon. The only thing about them is that, yeah, you have to constantly make sure they're tight. So the adjuster will keep adjusting and unloosen itself over time, and then make it literally impossible for this thing to work. Now, I already have one cut, and let's see just how wide it is. It's about 24-ish. So, yeah, just for an idea. Now, I like to eye everything. I don't even bother with that when it comes down to it, because it's easy enough to just eye it and cut it. And I'm going to make both the rear and the front arm. Yep. Snaps off that and goes popping somewhere. And just in case parts want to go flying, I do have my blanket down there to catch everything. But this stayed on the table, so it's right here, and I got them both. Yes, and they're ready. Now, here comes pretty much the absolute hardest part of this mod, and that's drilling out these holes. As you can see, there's a big screw in the middle of this thing running through the middle of it, and 2 smaller screws. This big screw is an M5. Now, the M5 that I use are the 35 millimeter for the shorter arm. That's that. And 45 millimeter, this lovely giant thing, for the longer arm. And that's the center hole. So, make sure this thing isn't gonna move, because moving is not good. And you need a M5 drill bit and M4 drill bit, which are the M4s are the 2 smaller holes that go on the other side of the big hole. That simple. Oh God, now I gotta go and try to do this. Now, center punch the hole, just for shit and giggles. If it actually punch, this is a very, very round object, and center punches don't like very, very round objects. Just That's what it says for shit and giggles. And that actually is damn dead center, which is nuts. Now, to make this slightly easier, you can make a pilot hole, but bump that, because you need to make this hole as perfectly straight as you possibly can. Now, you can always use a drill press. As you see, I'm not about to even think about setting something like that up. Now, this hole needs to be straight through. But as you can see, I went on, on an angle to try to make the hole straight, because it was going in like this. And as you can see, that's not exactly straight through. It got out. It caught it at about 3/4 of the way down, which is bad. So I angled it off to try to make it straight again. So now it's about going in like that. And all I have to do is make sure that it's going in the right way. That's why I say this is the hardest part, getting that first hole done, because you have to make sure it's straight. It's 100%. No matter what you do, it has to be straight. And that's about as good as it gets. And I do know that because I made enough of these on the meter. Did make all 4 of them for this one, all 4 of them for this one, and another set, the extra set that I have down there. I just don't have the other 2 because, well, I'm going to have a whole set of arms for the stupid thing. Okay. Boy, just for one hole. And even though it was on an angle, it looked like it was completely on an angle, that hole was straight. So, yeah. So now we have to set our screw inside of there. But first, I want to set up the next 2 holes. And I do like to do it with the screw inside, for obvious reasons, because those 2 holes also have to be straight. Now, that is the second hardest thing about it. After you drill those holes, this thing is, it puts itself together. So, now, what I like to do to keep this thing from moving, because it's gonna move, and it's gonna screw around with itself, is take the, yeah, that's another thing. I use the rivet nuts to make spacers and whatnot for the screws. And this is obviously an M5 rivet nut. So I put just screw the rivet nut on so that it's snug up against, so screw isn't gonna move. Okay, so now I need to make sure that the holes are screwed. So make sure that this thing is straight again. Yeah, it's a tiny bit off. Just a tiny tab of the freaking, there you go. Just that good. Okay, now I need to change this out to my, oh, before I do that, I might as well go and do the second one too, just to get that center hole done, since I'm doing it already. Now I'm going to do this without the center punch, because the center punch is a pain in the butt. Just to show you that it can be done without the center punch. But of course, you still got to make that hole straight. And I'm eyeing it and eyeing it. I mean, no matter how you put it through, how it's clamped on to the stupid vice grip, and yeah, it's a vice grip, that hole seriously needs to be straight. So, adjusting your drilling as you drill through this hole is the only thing that's going to keep it straight. Now we have our bigger, more lovely thing. And we go and grab another lovely rivet nut. And yeah, I do have a case of these, although it's never enough. So all the rivet nuts that I think I might have needed for any project, since as you can see, most of my 4s, 3s, and 5s are gone already, I bought a whole bunch of 3, 4, and 5s. Yeah, it's like 200 each one. Now I do use the 3s for this, but I'll get to that when I'm done, because that'll be when I need the 3s. So I'll go on and screw on the M5 rivet nut, and this is the 45 millimeter for the longer arm. As you can see, both of the inner parts of the arm are the same. The difference is the outer rod ends. Yeah, as you can see, this is the 45 and this is the 35. So I'm just gonna go on and put this on. Okay, now I got that. And get back to doing this, which, as I said, is the second hardest. The hardest part is getting that center hole. Now, if you can drill a straight hole through some plastic, with the plastic being on some vice grips, clamping it into place, then you can actually do this. Because after I'm done with that, this thing puts itself together so fast. You want, this is child's play. So yeah, here's my M4, and I need to drill 2 holes on either side of the big dumb bolt that's sitting up there. The big dumb bolt also acts as a spacer for where you need the holes to be. Now, as you can see, yeah, it's literally no room for these holes. So they need to go fairly close to the outer edge of the plastic. And of course, it has to be straight. And you are working with the angle that the screw is already in. So it literally gives you a guide to where the hole needs to be at, or a guide to where the drill needs to face and point. So that's why it's the second hardest. The first hardest is getting that hole. Second hardest is lining up the stupid drill with the hole that you already made. And wow, dead solid perfect. You gotta love that. Ugh. Okay, one down, one to go. On the other side. Now, to make it easy, flip it around. So you can still see where it's going. As you can see, one hole is already straight done. Okay, but now you need to eye the second one. I need to get in the shot. Now, as you can see, I am not hammerheading this. There is absolutely no need to rush through this like you just need to bash your truck now. I mean, like I said, this is the hardest part. So let it be the hardest part. Because after it's done, you're finished. And everything works off of that. So, oh boy. Now, you can take your M4 screws, and they are, yeah, these guys, 35 millimeter M4, and yeah, dropping everything. Okay, all the screws that I use are 12.9, and I found this big old box of stupid. Oh god. Yeah, you can tell I use these screws for a lot of different things, because I'm going to have a big old box of these sitting up here. But all the screws I use are 12.9 for obvious reasons. Yeah, they're the strongest. They're literally the strongest screws you can get, so there's no point in not using them. As you can see, that's literally the arm. In a nutshell. Once you got this, your arm pretty much puts itself together. Oh boy. So now I do have all of these up in there for some dumb reason. My M4 rivet nuts are gonna go on the M4 screw. I mean, it doesn't get any easier than that. It really doesn't. And doing it this way is about as simple as it gets. And I also spaced out everything already to match up the old arm, which makes everything more than perfect. But at some point, space is going to become an issue, so you grab the right one. I'm just going to twist around like an idiot, so. And it flies off. Oh, boy. Okay, that's what we were looking for, and that's what we got. So now we put the center back in. Get the M5 back on there, and you are definitely working with next to no space with this thing, so you do have to force the rivet nuts on the thing, so. So this is definitely one of those been there, done that things. And then we have the silly sucker screwing itself apart. Just even more awesome. So we gotta keep on adjusting and readjusting. Okay, so now what I like to do is just nip off some of the ends here. So the shock clearance don't become an issue with the end of it poking out and hitting the shock. And I'm just using these regular old flush cutters. Okay, now we got that set up. Now, what else? Okay. So now we just gonna put the arm together. And since it's a smaller one, I use my template. So I throw on some M4s, M4 washers. On my phone. And grab my M4 hem jointed rod ends. Yeah, you can get a pack of, I think a pack of 10 off of Amazon for like I think they're like 15 bucks or something like that. Yeah, it's something like that. But you need a total of 8 of them for the whole project. Because each arm used 2 of these. And they're 4mm. Well, M4. Or 4mm, obviously. I love this stuff. So I just scroll on. And we have our end done. And now we need our M5 hem jointed steel rod end. Yeah, these are lovely. And if I space them out correctly, I can see that I use 4 M5 washers on this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Ended up a little twisted, so I just twist it back. Yep, done. And it comes loose. It always comes loose. Now you do, if you can keep the thing in your hand, you do want to put some blue Loctite on the screws so that this thing isn't flinging itself apart while you're running them. Because that's what it will do. Since it's all metal against metal against metal against metal and metal and more metal and more metal and more metal. Now, the M3 comes into play because this arm has to get screwed into that. So you have an M3 screw So here's my little M3 rivet nut, and this is the M5 hem jointed rod end. Now the diameter of the M3, the outer diameter of the M3 rivet nut is 5 millimeters. And it fits perfectly, but it's too, okay, now this is when tiny stuff comes into play. It's a head too wide for the C-hub, whatever you want to call this, and the same thing goes for that. So what I do is I take my Y cutters and I cut this head, the actual rivet part of this nut. I cut it off. And that goes flying somewhere, and it leaves you with this. And that fits perfectly on the inside of that. And now you can easily screw in your screw, and it acts as a spacer, and it wants to go flying. And it also captures the screw so that you don't need that lock nut on the end, but I put it on there anyway just for the hell of it. Yeah, and you might actually want to use a drill to do that too while you're holding the arm toward you, so that these splines can catch on the inside of the rod end ball and not spin around. But okay, that's the rear arm. Now that's the front arm, obviously. God grief, man, that's dead solid perfect first time. But that's what you end up doing when you have made a ton of these damn things. So, okay, now you have the rear. And I'm going to speed through this a little bit. Okay, now I got the M4. I have to make the 2 holes for the M4. I already know just how fast I can do this, since I done did it I don't know how many times already. I can even do it from the other side, if that even matters. It don't. Oh wow, there's a little lip right there, so I'll just take it from the other side. Perfect. Okay, where's my screws at? Okay, get the M4s. You know, like that action, screwing both of them all at the same time. And where's my said before, use Loctite. I'm not about to use these arms since I do have both of these Kaijus already set up. So, for the sake of not having to go and find the stupid Loctite, I will not use it for this. Obviously, one of them would be difficult. Now, just putting these arms together, since you are drilling into plastic and they are screw holes and stuff going on, stuff is gonna unset, come loose and whatnot, and all this stupid stuff. So, as you can see, the arm is also twisted, just like the other one. Just untwist it and be done with it. And the Loctite does help keep these things from coming apart again, though. Okay, done. Okay, now that lovely center thing then started to show its butt. So, grab the center and drill it in just slightly, and then take another M5 and match it up, throw it on, tighten it on there. Good. Grab your washer, which is also a big M5. Well, actually, I don't know what kind of washer this is. I think this is one of those stupid washers that I got at Home Depot or Menards or something like that. But it fits this. So, yeah, I mess around with these stupid drills. And wrenches a lot while doing this. Okay, so this is the rear arm. Oh boy, these rear arms are long. Oh yeah, that's what I forgot. I forgot the washers. Like an idiot. I probably forgot them for this one too. Where's the other one? Yeah, I forgot them for that one too. Yeah, I got a big old bag of 1,000 M4 washers. I love to use this stuff for everything. Man, that one is real tight. Okay, that one's really tight. Good grief. Oh, you gotta love these longer videos. But I did say I would make them from start to finish. And I will do that. Goofing up a side. Okay, that's good. Now as for this, yeah, I did the same right here. Forgot the washer. Space it out. Oh, wait a minute, I didn't forget. Okay. Boy, that was on. Okay. Now for this one, I did put washers on the ends here, but it really doesn't matter. And yeah, I also made this one a little bit what you call it, shorter, just to see just how, so I will have absolutely no problem with the shock clearance. Now sometimes this shock will rub up against this plastic right here, but if it's small enough, and this is like the absolute smallest the nylon part can get, because this one is thick as heck. This one is 27 millimeters. My God. While this one is just about 24. So I think, yeah, 24 is about as small as it can get, and still have space enough to put on everything without anything clashing. This one is also around 24. Yeah, so yeah, I would say 24 is about as low as you can go and still have room enough for everything. But this is, yeah, and also, if you do go 24, you ain't gonna have any of the rubbing problems. Yeah, because I actually did go 24 on these right here, and they don't rub at all. And I do have a lot of space between that and the shock, which is perfect. And on the rear, it does get a little close, but these are 24 too. And the only problem I have on the rear is sometimes this washer was sticking out and it caught the shock. So I grinded a little end off of that washer. But yeah, that's the arms in a nutbag. I mean, a nutshell. Oh man, you know, I've been doing this too long. It's been almost 40 minutes. Oh yeah, I also forgot y'all already had one. The M3 that I put in there. And these things are just notorious for just popping off and drumming itself down, getting lost and all that other stuff. So I'll just go on and do it again just for the heck of it. All I do is just cut this rim off. Using some nice cobalt wire cutters. Yeah, I also have these things that I got at what you call it, Harbor Freight. But I think I used that for something stupid and I chipped off the end, so these aren't really that good. Now, I'm pretty sure I can use that for these too, but not having that end kind of sucks. And it goes fine somewhere. one more. Just to have all 4 of them, so I can put them back in the bag. When it goes popping and flying. Okay, so now I have all these, and what I use to attach the arm to the bulkhead and shock tower are, yeah, you know what was coming, the M4 35mm bolts. So yeah, and I don't use the nylon locking washer, nylon locking nut on the end either. I just have it free floating in on there, since there's so much stuff down there for the screw to get into. It's just sitting there, and it doesn't have any way of coming out either. And yeah, that steel plate that I got sitting up there is so beefy, it's not even right. I mean, before I used that, I had some 30mm, M4 30mm, but yeah, and that didn't go all the way through there with the plate. So now I use the 35s, and it has plenty of space. So that's the arms for the Kaiju, the upper arms for the Kaiju. The lower arms are a whole different ballgame that'll take me a while to do. So not something that's very video friendly. It'll probably be like live stream type of stuff, and it'll get kind of winded, to say the least. But yeah, now I got a little mess on my hands with this makeshift workbench that I got sitting up here, because my other workbench is kind of, well, it's in the other room and you don't want to see it. There's so much stuff on that thing. I don't even know what the heck is going on. But at least, yeah, I put this together in about 5 minutes just so I could have somewhere to get to, you know, make this video. But I will not show myself cleaning all this mess up. Oh man, this was I won't say it's a chore, but it is what it is. It's off my to-do list. At least I got it done. But if anyone is actually interested in doing this, that's just how much of a process it takes. Now, these arms will destroy your bulkheads. They will destroy your bulkheads and your shock towers if you don't reinforce them with stuff like that. I mean, I ripped the arm off of this one, and I ripped the arm off of that one, and the only thing that was hanging on by a thread was this thing, and that was broke too, and that was on both of them. So yeah, the arms are absolutely bulletproof, but that will make other parts of the truck that much more privy to breaking. So man, well, since that's done, I'll go on and end the video and have another nice set on. So I don't know, maybe I will buy a third Kaiju, since I pretty much have all the upgrades for a third Kaiju anyway. Oh god, I love this truck. Yeah, I've been working on this thing for over a year now, and it's definitely to the point where it's, what, 11 pounds without the body. Man, this thing is just so built. Wow. Nearly bulletproof, and the core of this thing is just in excellent condition. It is so ridiculous how right they got this truck. Of course, it is ridiculously overpowered for what it is, but it made me do this to it. That's just how much potential this truck has. It made me actually want to work on it. And I don't have too many RCs that I'm going to town on like this, other than a few armors, and I don't know. I know I went to town on the Sin a little bit, but the Sin it's a nutball in itself, especially on 8S. But yeah, okay, this video is definitely going on long enough, so I'm going to end it now and leave you with this big dumb mess I gotta clean up, even though it's not really that big compared to the other room.